You're listening to Speaking Stellar Girl with Teri an interview series that inspires women to live their most stellar life. Teri is the co-founder of the Stellar Girl movement, and she is sitting down with women all over the world to hear about the key moments in their lives and how they live boldly, compassionately, and ultimately became a stellar girl.
Welcome to Speaking Stellar Girl. I'm your host, Teri and I'm thrilled to have Sara Quiriconi joining me today.
Thank you,
Sara.
for having me on.
Yes, I'm so excited to talk all things Sara and all things Live Free Warrior. But Sara is an actress, a creative, a host, and an empowered well-being leader. She's an entrepreneur in the creative fields of media, acting, storytelling, and filmmaking, and founder of the Warrior University. Let's welcome Sara today. Thank you.
Beautiful intro. Thank you for having me, and so many overlaps with our message and missions. So it's an honor.
Oh, thank you for, before I start though with my first question, which will be all about you and your Live Free Warrior movement, I'm going to do something I've never done before, which was take off my clothes on TV or YouTube, because I am a warrior.
Did you tell me I have a similar shirt? We could have done uniforms.
We should have, but I wanted it to be a surprise. So I took off my jacket and there goes my sleeves. Anyways, so this is not from your line. I am going to go to your website and purchase the Live Free Warrior t-shirt and hoodie. I love the hoodie. But this is a t-shirt that I have had, gosh, I'm going to say for about a decade. So this message about being a warrior, being fierce, has resonated with me. And so when I saw you on Instagram, I contacted my PR people. I'm like, please see if Sara would love to do Speaking Stellar Girl. So I've been wearing this for years.
I'm a huge, I love it. I love it. Girl, you got guns.
I like to work out a little bit. I like to, not like you, but I like to work out a little bit.
I love it.
So let's talk about having a stellar mindset and what that means to Sara and everything that you do in all of your platforms, because Speaking Stellar Girl is a mindset. We champion each other, but it starts with you, because if you don't champion yourself, and you can't help other people. So how did you get into this, and what is a stellar mindset to you?
You know, you bring up a great point about you can't help other people unless you help yourself. And I lived through that myself, where when I was younger, you know, I 14, 15, and I started to not value myself, and it was a lower self-esteem. That's where I got into eating issues, getting into a lot of trouble, getting into, you know, drinking, etc. And that's where I really veered off of a path of self-love and valuing myself. It goes to esteem. It's high school, it's all of the above, but we all go into that mindset of, am I enough, or am I good enough? And I mean, let's be honest, even as adults, I think we still face that, quite often too. So there was that mindset that I wasn't able to love for me in order to be a better person to anybody, really. I had poor boundaries, not being able to say no, people pleaser. Everybody loved me, when in turn the real work comes when you start loving yourself.
Absolutely.
And that's still something I see so often in adults. I mean, and that's not something that heals overnight. That took years and years, not until recently that I was able to acknowledge what was going on and then strongly implementing the tools to make a change. So to be stellar in that manner, it's to value yourself. You put yourself above all, you fill your own cup first, to then be able to pour and share to others. For a redundancy, how many times we've heard that with airplanes, is to put the mask over your mouth first before helping somebody else. And that, as entrepreneurs, as female entrepreneurs, we are pouring out love in so many different directions that oftentimes we're the last ones to pour that back to ourselves. So that's been a work in progress for me. I'll be honest. I haven't perfected the way to take care. I go where passion drives me, and some days I am exhausted and depleted. Other days I feel so full just because it's an even exchange.
Right.
And other days I have too much, and then I kind of store that up for another day. So it becomes a balance. But I think now reaching a point of transformation, personal transformation, recognizing what are boundaries, what is self-love, and being able to prioritize that first. Now I'm in a different position to say, this is good for me, this is not good for me, this leaves me feeling good. And that becomes the gauge as to what direction to go and how hard to press the gas.
I love that. You just spoke about your boundaries and having, internally being beautiful. What is internal beauty for you?
Ooh, beautiful phrase, by the way. Internal beauty is if you were to close your eyes and you were to feel breath going through your body, you would feel that breath touching every single one of your cells, just like you would the petal of a rose. That softness, that little kiss. I feel like I'm writing an ad script right now.
No,
that's what
you're tearing me up here. Okay,
Oh.
So no, you are a poet, you are a creator, and that's awesome. That's awesome. Okay, just a second. Holy cow. Okay, you touched the nerve today.
That point we were talking earlier before we hit record, how we both love the water. It's if you're laying on a surfboard in the water and you just allow the water to carry you. You're not trying to get anywhere. You're just being carried the same way that the earth can care for you in that moment. It's how are you caring for yourself? And you're allowing that connection of mind, of body, of that balance that I talked about earlier. That's what I would say internal beauty is. That goes with your thoughts, your actions, and everything. It all fuels.
So if the opposite of internal beauty to you would be what cancer is, and you are a cancer survivor, but you talk about things that are negative and pull us in the opposite direction of internal beauty. So cancer, what does that word mean to you?
It goes beyond a diagnosis. It goes beyond just being, a stage 4, metastasize. It's what thoughts are you waking up with in your mind? What are you telling to yourself when you see yourself in the mirror? What kind of relationships are you allowing into your life? Do you absolutely love or despise your job? What are you fueling yourself with food every day? There's different kinds of nourishments. So those are just a couple examples of what cancers can be. And it goes far beyond, like I said, something physical, which I've experienced that too. I do think that the physical cancer could have been a manifestation of all the other cancers that came before. And this is something that I haven't shared before, but I am for the first time here. And I recently made a big change in my life because I wanted to remove what I deep down knew would be a potential cancer again in my life. And it was a relationship. And I do think that had I continued on a path, the physical cancer would perhaps manifested once again. So we need to make, as warriors, You've got the shirt now, as warriors, we need to make those choices. They're not easy, but it's not designed to be easy. The impactful things in life aren't designed to be, easy decisions when we're making a pivotal change. So I do think cancer itself goes far beyond what it is defined as. Technically, actually, in Webster's dictionary, it's defined as anything that causes dis-ease within the body. So all of those cause dis-ease.
Absolutely.
So it can manifest over time.
Mm-hmm. Whether you pronounce it disease or dis-ease. Absolutely. Wow. So if you got rid of that and you are working on your Warrior University, you are working on living free. Obviously, I can tell from the background behind you that you're an extremely talented creative, and I love show everyone your home office.
This is yes.
Saturday. Gotta love Saturday laying on the beach in the sand. Yes. Yeah. And that water is just, everything that sparkles and everything that shines is water. And that's why it makes us so happy. So tell us about how you founded the Warrior University. I'll go back to the question before your office.
Yeah. It's a newer finding and development. So I have a long history in yoga, as we talked about, and well-being, But before all of that, not everybody knows this, but before all of that, I was a creative. I was an art director. I was in advertising. And I grew up in an entrepreneurial business and mindset with my family. So I've always had those roots of entrepreneurship and creative. And then I started to go in the direction of well-being. And I really think that they all fuel each other for success. There was just a study that came out to me. I read the study and I was like, yes, of course, but how well-being fuels creativity. To me, it's obvious, but they did a full-on study on it and it came out and it was like, yes, it does improve. And so it does really fuel how you take care of yourself is the output of your artwork and your message, as you know yourself. And the Warrior University really is a landing space to share the knowledge that I have garnered over the years so that it just doesn't go to waste, because I won't personally teach another yoga class. I won't do one-on-one coaching with people, but I do think that there's some useful tools that I have learned along the way that if somebody, one person, 10 people can benefit from it, fantastic. Then that's success.
Yes.
You know, that it doesn't have to be from me, but there's a landing page where somebody can find resources. So that's what the Warrior University is an online platform for education and empowering tools for creativity and well-being.
That's awesome. So if you're influencing all of these people attending your university, do you have a group of women, a family that champions you, that fuels you, that you surround yourself with other stellar girls?
I will say I have any entrepreneur, successful entrepreneur will tell you it's not about quantity, it's about quality.
Yes.
And it's not that I have a massive amount of people in my nucleus, but they're really awesome individuals. And we're all at this same elevating level. One of my great friends, Magda, and we always talk about #global, because when we think of something, we're thinking like, no, we're going bigger. We're going bigger. And we have that same mindset. So it's having people like that in my life, male or female, are really important for me, because I've recognized over the years too that some of the mistakes I did, which I don't really believe in mistakes. I think that everything teaches you the lesson until you learn it.
Okay.
It led me to the place to be where I am today, to learn that this energy, if it's dark, it's going to pull me down. If it is light, it can keep me here in the same plane, or if it can elevate by sharing similar energies. When recently I met somebody and we've known each other for a while, but when we start to converse and learn more about each other, it's like, wow, there's a lot of similarities, but it just flows and it fuels one thought into another. And he honestly fuels a lot of my creativity and playfulness. So as creatives, having that element of play is so important to tap into those different areas of the brain that start to connect different ideas. So those are the kind of people that I, take the gender part out, taking specifics out, but it's really quality people that are helping to fuel me higher or keep me in the same plane, but it's not worth the energy time to go lower.
No.
And that's part of a path. Somebody recently called me and said, "You're really a warrior." And I said, "Thank you." In my head, I'm like, "Thank you."
Yes.
Because I think a warrior isn't somebody who fights. They actually fight for peace and they fight for making the world better. And that's what
100%.
I truly believe is important, that the world really needs. We need more warriors who are not going to say, okay, I'm going to go along with that path because everybody else is. They're like, I'm actually going to check out side right because I think there's something to be discovered over here. So we need that different kind of thinking and like yourself to create that.
Well, you mentioned having joy, having fun, that playfulness that you mentioned. So what do you do that brings you joy, that brings you fun within your work? Maybe all of your work is fun and joyous for you, and that's why you do it.
I'll be honest, I don't love everything that I do. However, I mean, who, in all honesty, who does? It's like, there's taxes, there are like,
Yes.
emails and stuff like that. When you can do more that you love and either offset and allocate the things you don't love to do to somebody else, or you minimize that amount of time, or you create really productive windows that you're doing it and that's it, and you're getting through it. I feel for myself, what really fuels me a lot is, I love business as well. I love coming up with marketing strategies, campaigns, creative ideas for launching and pitching. I love to create and take on different roles. That's why I love acting. Acting completely takes me out of what is me. And it's interesting because acting is drama, yet it takes me out of my own drama sometimes. So
I was watching your reel on your website, and you became all these different people in 3 minutes and 54 seconds.
That's a good thing.
It was one person, and then the next person, and then a scared person, and then an upset and crying person. And you were all of those things on this reel. And I'm just like, you can really you transformed yourself. You got lost in yourself, and you seem like you were really enjoying yourself. So that's fantastic.
Play, when I was younger, thank you. That's good feedback too. When I was a kid, I used to love playing dress up, and I would create just towns out of chalk on the sidewalk in the driveway, and take now it's set design, but I would take the rocks. I'm from Connecticut originally. I'd take the rocks that are in the backyard and make a kitchen out of it. And so I was always doing something. I had this like little make-believe in my head. And now I realize as an adult, one, it's never too late to jump and start doing something else. Because I was doing creative direction and teaching. I've jumped from different careers multiple times in my life. They all fuel and add into the next, but they also create a little overlap of safety. And I say safety in a safe regard, because when you are doing such a big transition, from a business perspective, it needs to be gradual, because otherwise you're leaping without having anything to really catch you and being, it's me yes. who's doing all of everything that's going on here and bills and everything. So it's being wise and intelligent. I love the process. I love the process of learning something new and creating, and then being able to emit that in a story to inspire and empower. I think that was the longest answer to get to that end part, but
That's okay. Empowerment and personal growth are exactly what you talk about in all of your platforms. But so this is what I need to do. So Stellar Girl has different tabs. We talk about Stellar Girl Style, Stellar Girl Shine, Stellar Girl Sites, Stellar Girl Share. You've covered all of them. I think I need a Sara Shine tab, because it's everything. You embody the epitome of a Stellar Girl, and that's outstanding. So let's talk about travel a little bit, because I know that on your website and on your YouTube, you talk about traveling and having that travel lifestyle, having that travel bug. Is there anywhere, I know this, I don't want to talk about this past year and all these restrictions that we have coming up and are going through right now. Where do you want to go? What's on your list?
Friend of mine, we write back and forth all the time. We're like, how about here? How about here?
Yes.
Every single time. One, we know this from a marketing perspective. I know that it's all algorithmic. I'm aware of this. So I'm a smart cookie. Maldives has popped up time and time and time again in my feed and in his feed. And I'm like, I think we just need to go. It's time to go. I would love to go back to, so actually last year, where this photo is taken actually is in Indonesia.
Okay.
It's in a private island. Oop, I just shake everything.
That's okay.
It's in a private island in Indonesia called Bawa. And I didn't have enough time in Southeast Asia that I would have loved to really explore that area of the world. So if I were given a free pass, a free COVID-free plane, first class AA, I would love to go back to Southeast Asia and that area of the world, because there's so much that I wouldn't say undiscovered. For me, it's undiscovered. I haven't seen enough of it, but it's so different and unique from what is the United States and Americas. And I think that that's what travel's really about. It's no matter where you're traveling to, it's what you're experiencing and taking away. And every time I've traveled somewhere, I prefer to talk with people who are either working at the resort or the location or locals to get a feel for who they are, what they do, where they're originally from. I love to, it taps into those different human personas, which create a great storyteller, which, just experiencing in itself creates a story, but it also opens your mindset to what the world is. And that just pops the top when it comes to creativity. Just for me, travel and fitness, it's all movement and it all fuels creativity.
Absolutely. I've traveled extensively through Indonesia, into Vietnam or in the Philippines. We were in South Korea, Singapore, and I find that at Thailand, those countries, what you speak about is you talk to the locals, you immerse yourself within their history, within their culture, and I found that they have so much hope, and it is so different than North America even. And the women that I've spoke to all around the world have the same feelings that you do, Sara, is that they all have something to share. They all have a story to tell, and only we can learn from each other. And that is what Stellar Girl is all about. That's what Living Free and Living Free Warrior is all about. And I think that's just absolutely incredible. And the work that you're doing on all of your platforms, I truly admire. And it's just been awesome. It's just been awesome. I have one last question because I see our little timer and I'm like, I feel like I talked to you forever. It's flew by, absolutely. But what can we do as a community of women to better champion each other?
Take a pause before responding to anybody. And I think on a human level, especially for females, and I'll bring the tone back up here because it started to get very serious. I think we can be very fast to act on instinct and ego from what we have learned. Oftentimes what we learned, especially as younger girls, and this doesn't apply necessarily, not to my mother, but I've seen it, or, even groups, even cliques or groups, how one person influences you to treat another person, we can react like that. So take a pause before reacting and say, am I doing something to connect with this person, or am I doing something to destroy? And if it destroys, bite your tongue, think about it twice, because you can't take that back. No. If it connects, wonderful. I love nothing more, as we did before we hit record, to compliment another woman, because one, you've created a connection with that woman or girl. If you're younger, I'll be a girl. If you've created connection, but you have also shown how strong and confident you are, because it takes a weak person to bring another person down. It takes a strong person to stand there and either say nothing, or, because sometimes it's better just to say nothing, or to say something positive. And I think that
elevate.
Yes, exactly. To elevate. Great word. And how we can fuel each other. So just take a pause and question, is it destroying or is it connecting?
I'm going to take that advice. I feel that we always have to lead with kindness first. And as a human race, as human beings, as women, that is what we need to lead with first, is kindness in our hearts and with our words. And there's been so much going on social media and the world this past year, and even with social media the past 5 or 6 years, and we all need to live free from that, get rid of the toxin and the cancer in our life that you spoke about, and take a pause and live free warrior. And thank you again, Sara, for joining Speaking Stellar Girl today. I have truly appreciated your time, and I can't wait for all of our listeners to tune into this interview. So I will
thank you for this space, really, and for everybody who's listening, for your ears and your open heart. Thank you so much.
Thank you again, Sara.
Thanks for tuning in to today's episode. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit that bell icon to be notified of new episodes. To learn more about the Stellar Girl movement, please visit us at stellargirl.com.